Well, let's get started. Welcome to Community Church Unitarian Universalists virtual worship service, where we gather each week beyond our four walls to be together in these unique times. I'm Amy Boyce Holtkamp, member and your worship associate this Sunday. Community Church UU is a progressive, open-minded, and inclusive religious community. All who are on a spiritual search for truth and meaning are welcome. Ours is a faith in action as we do the work of justice and elevate compassion in our quest to live ethically, recognizing the inherent worth and dignity of every being. We believe it is not necessary to think alike in order to love alike. We are very glad to have you join us today. So we'll start out with some announcements. First of all, our beloved minister, Reverend Darcy, is out of the pulpit and on parental leave. She'll return to the pulpit on September 13th. There is also an email scam we want to make sure everyone is aware of. Someone's impersonating Reverend Darcy. So if you get any emails from Reverend Darcy that are asking for special favors or money, just know that you'll never be asked for those kind of things other than church coordinating in an email from the church or from Reverend Darcy. So please delete the email and feel free to call the CCUU office to follow up. Thank you. The Caring Ministry has started a meal train for Bennett and Carol Britt following Carol's recent hospitalization. So if you'd like to find information on how to sign up to bring them a meal, you can look in the most recent Community Matters newsletter in your email or email the Caring Ministry for more information. On Friday at 3 p.m., our wonderful religious education director, Cynthia Ramirez, will be leading a virtual craft/short RE class for our CCUU youth. Again, that's Friday at 3 p.m. And for more info and login information, you can email re@ccuunola.org. The CCUU's Community Justice Ministry will be meeting virtually via Zoom at 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday, July 15th. Thereafter, it will continue to meet on the third Wednesday of every month. Anyone interested in social justice work is encouraged to join this ministry. They welcome new faces and ideas. If you're interested and have questions or suggestions, please contact justice@ccuunola.org. You can also check the Community Matters newsletter this week for links for information and resources on Black Lives Matter. People who are participating in protests can find information on how to do so safely. There's also a link to the UUA's recent press release on actions that we can take to eradicate anti-Blackness. And there are a lot more links this week to community events and resources beyond our four walls. All right, so we're so happy to welcome Reverend Dr. Jane Mauldin today, who will be delivering our sermon. Reverend Malden currently serves as North Shore Unitarian Universalist Congregation's currently serves our North Shore Unitarian Universalist Congregation part-time as their consulting minister. She also has served as chaplain manager at Touro Infirmary full-time for over 12 years. Jane received her BA from Grinnell College in Iowa, her MA in Comparative Religions from the University of Chicago and her Doctor of Ministry from Meadville Lombard, our UU seminary in Chicago. During her over 40 years in UU ministry, Jane has served congregations in Oregon, Nebraska, Alabama, and Louisiana. Jane is the proud mother of 3 young adult children. She especially enjoys gardening for butterflies, creating mosaics, and playing with her 2 grandsons, who she currently plays with and reads to via FaceTime. Welcome, we're so glad to have you with us. Now, Alicia Cook will sing Come, Come, Whoever You Are.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come.
Thank you for that. Now it's time to light our chalice. It is Community Church's custom to light a chalice invoking hope and eternal truths to our worship. Please join me in saying the words to We Light This Flame. I'm sorry that since I've been kicked off my computer, I can't put them in the chat box, but hopefully you can recall them. And I will say them for us. We light this flame to affirm the light of truth and sorry about that. We light this flame to affirm the light of truth and knowledge, the warmth of love and community, and the fire of hope and commitment. Now, Cynthia Ramirez, our RE director, will read our words for all ages.
Good morning, everybody. We are going to read a story about the brave little parrot. Once long ago, the Buddha was born as a little parrot. One day, a storm broke upon her forest home. Lightning flashed, thunder crashed, and a dead tree struck by lightning burst into flames. Sparks leaped on the wind, and soon the forest was ablaze. Terrified animals ran wildly in every direction, seeking safety from the flames and smoke. "Fire, fire," cried the little parrot. "Run, run to the river." Flapping her wings and flung herself up into the fury of the storm and rising higher, flew towards the safety of the river. But as she flew, she could see many animals were trapped, surrounded by the flames below, with no chance of escape. Suddenly, a desperate idea, a way to save them, came to her. She darted to the river and dipped herself in the water and flew back over the raging fire. The heat rising up from the burning forest was like the heat of an oven. The thick smoke made breathing almost unbearable. A wall of flame shot up now in one another, now on the other. Crackling flames leapt and danced before her. Twisting and turning through the mad maze of fire, the little parrot flew bravely on. At last, over the center of the forest, she shook her wings and released the few drops of water which still clung to her feathers. The tiny drops tumbled like jewels down in the heart of the blaze and vanished with a sss. When the little parrot once more flew back through the flames and smoke to the river, dipped herself into the cool water, and flew back again over the burning forest. Back and forth she flew, time and time again, from the river to the forest, from burning forest to the river. Her feathers were charred, her feet were scorched, her lungs ached, her eyes, stung by smoke, burned red as coals. Her mind spun as dizzily as the spinning sparks, but still the little parrot flew on. At this time, some of the devas, gods of the happy realm, were floating high overhead in their cloud palaces of ivory and gold. They happened to look down and they saw the little parrot flying through the flames. They pointed at her with powerful hands. Between mouthful of honey-eyed food, they exclaimed, "Look at that foolish bird. She's trying to put out a raging fire with a few sprinkles of water. How ridiculous, how absurd." And then they laughed. But one of the gods did not laugh. Strangely moved, he changed himself into a golden eagle and flew down towards the little parrot's fiery path. The little parrot was just nearing the flames again when the great eagle with eyes like molten gold appeared at her side. "Go back, little bird," said the eagle in a solemn and majestic voice. "Your task is hopeless. A few drops of water can't put out a forest fire. Cease now and save yourself before it's too late." But the little parrot only continued to fly on through the smoke and flames. She could hear the great eagle flying above her as the heat grew fiercer, calling out, "Stop, foolish parrot! Save yourself! Save yourself!" "I don't need a great shining eagle," coughed the parrot, "to give me advice like that. My own mother, the dear bird, might have told me such things long ago. Advice? I don't need advice. I just need someone to help." And the god who was that great eagle, seeing the little parrot flying through the flames, thought suddenly of his own privilege, kind. He would see them floating high above. Yes, there they were, the carefree gods, still laughing and talking, while many animals cried out in pain and fear, and from among the flames below. Seeing that, he grew ashamed, and a single desire was kindled in his heart. God though he was, he just wanted to be like the brave little parrot to help. "I will help," he explained, and flushed with these new feelings, he began to weep. Stream after stream of sparkling tears poured from his eyes. Wave upon wave, they washed down like the cooling rain upon the fire, upon the forest, upon the animals, and upon the little parrot herself. Where those tears fell, the flames died down and the smoke began to clear. The little parrot, washed and bright, rocketed above the sky, laughing for joy. "Now that's more like it," she explained. The eagle's tears dripped from burned branches and soaked into the scorched earth. Where those tears glistened, new life pushed forth, shoots, stems, and trees. Buds unfurled and blossoms opened, green grass pushed up from among still glowing cinders. All the animals looked up at one another in amazement. Washed by those tears, they were whole and well. Not one had been harmed. Up above in the clear blue sky, they could see their friend, the little parrot, looping and soaring in the light. When hope was gone, somehow she had saved them. "Hooray!" they cried. "Hooray for the brave little parrot and for this sudden miraculous rain." The end.
Thanks so much, Cynthia. Joys and sorrows within the congregation are recognized within worship normally. And in this virtual service, I invite you to write your public messages in the chat box during the hymn, and they will be read after the music, which will be "Love Will Guide Us," hymn number 131.
So we are going to try something a little bit different with the hymn this week, which is that I am going to display the lyrics and we will sing it together. I will be singing out loud and you all will be singing from home and on mute. But you will be singing because I do not like singing by myself. And so hopefully you all will back me up. And I can see your faces, so I know if you're not singing. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way. On the road from greed to giving, love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way. On the road from greed to giving, love will guide us through the hard night.
Okay, I'm looking in the chat box and I see from Howard Milkey, I'm sad that a long-planned family camp vacation in the Boundary Waters canoe area had to be canceled due to COVID-19. I miss my daughter Beverly, Jonathan, and grandchildren Walter, Simon, and Lena. Yeah, and yes, I'm sure a lot of our community are sharing similar disappointments this summer and similarly missing the people we love. From Dion DeVille, sorry that my pup Moki has been sick with a mystery illness that has left her 15 pounds lighter in 3 weeks. Blood work tomorrow. Wish us cheap good luck. We do so. We also hold a space in our hearts for all the joys that are just bubbling up and feel too new to share, and for all the sorrows that feel too raw and painful to voice right now. Know that we're holding you in our hearts and that you're not alone. Also, I want to take this moment to make sure that members know that if you wish to contact the caring team and ask to be put in contact with a minister, that's possible for you in this time when Reverend Darcy is on parental leave. So don't hesitate to reach out if that's needed. The email is caring@ccuunola.org. Community Church Unitarian Universalist is a self-sustaining congregation. Your generosity enables the congregation to fulfill its mission within and without of the church walls. You can give in a variety of different ways, and this information will be put on the screen very shortly. You can give online at ccuunola.org/stewardship. You can give by text at 504-370-2659. And you can make arrangements with your bank to transfer your donations. And of course, you can always mail a check to CCUU at 6690 Fleur de Lis Drive, 70124. And like I said, all of that information will be put in the chat box and on the screen in just a moment. So now we'll hear the offertory hymn, Be Thou My Vision. And now we'll hand things over to Reverend Malden, for a reading, Who Are We to Bet Against Glory by Julia Hamilton.
Good morning again, you all. This wonderful reading is by a Unitarian woman, Julia Hamilton. Who are we to bet against glory? What a title. Spirit of hope, settle into our bones on this strange new morning. Remind us once again that the dawn light is never a gamble. If there ever was a sure bet, it is the sunrise. Even stones crumble, even grief changes and shifts, and death is a mystery that is certain, but not solid. But hope is like the sunrise, eternal and bone bred within us. We are creatures built by sunlight and cannot carve this hope out of our bones if we tried. And yet people have tried to entomb the light, tried to seal off the morning. Emperors and priests, kings and patriarchs have brought down death, certain but not solid, on any who point to a new dawn. In these fearful moments, we can be forgiven if we stumble and doubt and deny. But still the sun rises and calls her children into bloom. Always, she says, always, I will return. So don't despair. All is not lost. The small ways of the petty tyrants never win. So place your money on the sunrise. Who are we to bet against glory? Dear friends, old friends, new friends, this is a very strange year. The year 2020 will certainly go down in history. This is a year of loneliness, of being locked away. It is a year of struggle against racism and bigotry and fear. It is a year of economic uncertainty and even devastation for many. It is a year of illness. It is also a year of death. If you don't yet personally know someone who has succumbed to the COVID-19 virus, then it's a sure bet that you know someone whose dear friend or loved one has. We are living in that valley of the shadow that the psalmist talks about. One person that I follow on Twitter recently wrote, "My own home is beginning to feel like a prison." And just when we start to feel that the pandemic may be subsiding and maybe we can venture out again safely, we learn that it is sickening tens of thousands of our friends and neighbors and relatives in Texas and Florida and beyond. And many more right here in New Orleans. We do not know how long it will be with us. This year is truly a dark night of the soul for our community, our nation, and the world. And yet, great national and international tragedies have happened before. Our grandparents and great-grandparents knew horrific world wars. Our great-great-grandparents knew a civil war that destroyed families and communities, north and south. Some of our great-great-grandparents knew enslavement. We, you and I, are also like them, living in mythic times. We are living a story of hiding, waiting for the enemy to strike, watching heroes and heroines fight the enemy with little protection. We are learning ways of banding together with our families and neighbors to help one another survive. We are a people in need of deliverance. When I was a child, I was taught that Jesus brought that deliverance. I was taught that after he preached and taught and was murdered and buried, then one early morning, a great outside force came down and shazam, the stone at the door of Jesus' tomb got rolled away, and bazinga, Jesus walked straight out of the tomb like a superhero from another planet. This super force and superhero defeated all the enemies in their path. And whoever joined their team got a get home free card too. But what if I don't believe in superhero gods anymore? How am I going to find my way out of this darkness, this tomb of fear and despair in which I live, we live, this year of COVID-19? This is a different kind of challenge than we have lived before. Turns out the way out of the tomb is not so clear. Turns out the tomb we are in is not a single room with a single door. Our tomb, our daily reality, my friends, is more like the deep maze of the labyrinth of the Minotaur. There are twists and turns in our lives, and it's very hard to see our way out. Do you remember the story of the Minotaur and how one young man, the hero, Theseus, was able to find his way back out of the dark cave of the labyrinth once he had slain the monster, the Minotaur? Before Theseus entered the labyrinth, expecting to be killed by the Minotaur, the princess Ariadne gave Theseus a ball of thread, and when he went into the labyrinth, he tied one end beside the entrance, and then it kept rolling out the thread as he went deeper into the dark. After he met and battled with and killed the Minotaur, Theseus followed the thread carefully back to the entrance to find his way out into the daylight again. That's sort of our story too. If we were in your beautiful church sanctuary together with its light and air all around us, and you all right there before me, I would at this point pull out a large ball of thread, of yarn, like Ariadne's thread, and holding one end of my hand, I would toss the ball to Amy, who would hold on to the yarn and then toss the ball to Cynthia, who would then hold on to the yarn and then toss the ball to Susie, who would hold on to the thread, and on until we eventually would all be holding on to the yarn together, all linked together to the beginning of the yarn. My friends, we don't have an actual ball of yarn today, but we do have our interdependent web. I am connected to each of you, and each of you is connected to each other and to so many others. Together, we will follow the thread laid down for us back into the light. It's a thread woven of love, of courage, of sacrifice, of faith and devotion. Feel the thread of connection coming to you now from others right here on your screen this morning, and the thread you toss out to others to help lead them back out of the darkness. That thread connects you to a way out of the tomb. You may not see the way out yet, but it is around that corner and the next corner and the next. The thread is strong and trustworthy. It is woven by all of those who have gone before, the real live heroes and heroines, like your elders who founded your church, and those, including some of you, who fought against all odds to bring it back following Katrina and the flood. The thread is woven by the well-known heroes and heroines like Harriet Tubman and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Susan B. Anthony and Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And it is woven by the teachers and mentors and coaches and others who have believed in us and encouraged us to reach for the light. They followed the thread laid down for them by those who came before them. And it is being woven anew by the thousands, the millions of people around the globe, including many of you who are right now gathering food for the hungry, tending the sick, helping your neighbors in need, and working at essential jobs that endanger you even as you work. Doing all these things and much, much more, weaving that thread for all of us as we walk together toward the light. The Reverend Susan Frederick Gray, president of our Unitarian Universalist Association, emailed our congregations a letter a few weeks ago, right before Passover and Easter, a letter that may also have come to you. Susan agrees that we too are living in mythic times, and that the stories of those who came before us might give us hope that we too will find our way out of this cave. She writes, "This year is an opportunity to rest in the deeper meaning of this sacred time. The stories of Passover and Holy Week are stories of people's courage and faith in the midst of fear and grief. The Hebrews survived plague and liberate themselves from slavery. Christians experienced the murder of Jesus at the hands of the state, but refused to let that silence his voice, his teachings, and their faith." Susan continues, "These are stories of resilience. They remind us that each of us is here because of the strength and resilience of our ancestors. Their strength is our strength too. Their stories help us understand how to keep our loved ones and communities whole, and to keep our faith, our values, and what is most important as a centerpiece of how we live and how we show up for one another in this moment." Susan's right, you know. Our ancestors and the ancients knew that the thread of love, of faith, of shared values is a thread that we can trust. Know, please, dear friends, that if you follow that thread, it will lead you toward new life. As you hold on to that thread, you will remember again that love is the greatest life force. The thread you hold in your hands is tangible proof that you are linked to a love that will lead you to safety. This is a strange year, yet it is also a year of amazing hope. We may not yet see the exit to the tomb quite yet, but the glimmers of light from it are shining down upon us. We know the exit to the tomb is there. The light is dancing around us on the walls of the cave as we make our way toward the sunlight once again. Others held on to that thread in years past, and our friends and people around the world are holding onto the thread with us, walking with us. It is real. You are not alone. Together, helping each other when we stumble, we are making our way upwards into the light. As the poet says, people have tried to entomb the light, tried to seal off the morning, but still the sun rises and calls her children into bloom. Always, she says, always, I will return. So don't despair. All is not lost. The small ways of the petty tyrants never win. So place your money on the sunrise. Who are we to bet against glory? May the glory of love fill your days with light. May you trust that the thread of love is strong enough to guide you, and surely all of us, surely to new life again soon. Amen, Ashe, Amen. Thank you.
Amen, amen, amen.
The closing affirmation is now on your screen, I hope. And I invite you to read. I will read it aloud, and I invite you to read it yourself if you so choose with me. Laugh at all my dreams, my dearest. Laugh, and I repeat anew that I still believe in people as I still believe in you. That I still believe in people as I still believe in you. By the passion of our spirit, may our ancient bonds be shed. Let the soul be given freedom. Let the body have its bread. Let the soul be given freedom. Let the body have its bread. For my soul is not yet sold to the golden calf of scorn. For I still believe in all of us and the spirit in us born. For I still believe in all of us and the spirit in us born. Life and love and strength and action in our heart and blood shall beat, and our hope shall be both heaven and the earth beneath our feet, and our hopes shall be both heaven and the earth beneath our feet. And now, dear friends, whatever challenges await you this week, may you go with courage and trust that you are not alone, that you are bound by this web of love, and that the thread of love will finally lead you on to better times. Amen, Ashe, Salam, Shalom, Amen. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reverend Malden, for your words of hope and for your presence today. We're so glad that all of you joined us today. And if you stay connected, our virtual coffee hour will begin shortly, led by member and past President Dion DeVille. Thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you all soon.